help me in welcoming our next Secretary of Agriculture, Francis Thicke.
Thank you. It's great to be here today among so many Democrat activists. I feel very honored to be your nominee for Secretary of Agriculture. I'm also proud to be part of this tradition of Iowa progressive Democrats. Iowa also has a long, proud tradition of being a leader in agriculture. The Iowa prairies left us with some of the deepest, best, richest soils in the world. We also have a good temperate climate, good for crop production here in Iowa. And we have a strong tradition of hardworking people in Iowa. And all of these things have made Iowa an agricultural powerhouse, a shining jewel among agricultural states. But now we are in a time of great change. Iowa agriculture will also need to change if it is to thrive in these coming changing times. Climate scientists tell us that our climate is changing, that we should expect growing frequency of extreme weather events. We've already seen that manifesting as intense rainfall and severe flooding. The floods of 2008 caused tremendous damage in Iowa, and it caused tremendous erosion in Iowa's soils. 10% of Iowa's soils eroded at the rate of 20 tons per acre or more during these flooding events last in 2008. So our dominant cropping systems in Iowa are not resilient enough to withstand such weather extremes. And already our environment's been compromised by farming practices of the past. Since we began cropping Iowa's land, we've lost about half of our topsoil to erosion. It's been either eroded away or moved on the landscape. We've also lost about half of our organic matter, organic carbon, which is the heart of our fertility. So we cannot continue on this path of deficit spending on our ecological capital that our prairie soils have bestowed on us. We also have water quality problems in Iowa, and agriculture must take some responsibility for these water quality problems. We have problems caused by CAFOs, concentrated animal feeding operations, and they're a source of great divisiveness in rural Iowa, compromising our air and water quality, our property values, our quality of life, and even the health of Iowans. Agribusiness corporations are monopolizing ag markets and stealing profits from Iowa farmers. Economists tell us that when 40% or more of the market is controlled by 4 or fewer companies, that market starts to act like a monopoly instead of a free market. We are way past that in a lot of our agricultural markets. For example, pork processing, 4 corporations control 65% of the pork processing. In beef, 4 corporations control 85%. In dairy, 1 corporation controls 40% of the dairy processing. So last year when dairy farmers were experiencing record losses, record low farm prices, that company that controls 40% of dairy processing posted 2 consecutive quarters of record profits. So we can see the markets are not working. We need to break them up. Another concern is that we have an agriculture that is highly dependent on cheap fossil fuels in a world with escalating fossil fuel prices. Without cheap oil, our current agriculture and food system is really in peril and may fail us. Yet we seem to be oblivious to how we're going to power agriculture in the future. We're making ethanol for cars going down the highway, but we're virtually doing nothing to power agriculture and to take care of the future of Iowa agriculture's energy needs. My opponent, the Republican incumbent, apparently doesn't see these challenges facing Iowa agriculture. Maybe when he goes on his 99 county tours, he only talks and listens to one special interest group. He seems to think that the future of Iowa agriculture should be just like the past. He's looking in the rearview mirror and thinking he's seeing the future. Maybe my opponent is unable to see the family farmer's needs and the needs of the environment because of the many contributions he's getting from agribusiness that brought him into office 4 years ago. from Monsanto, Syngenta, DuPont, Iowa Select Farms, and many others who are now supporting him again this time, this election cycle. As Upton Sinclair put it, it's difficult to get a man to understand something when his paycheck depends on him not understanding it. The good news is that we have some solutions, some exciting solutions for these challenges facing us. We can install farmer-owned mid-sized wind turbines on farms all across Iowa to power agriculture and also to help power the rest of agriculture with distributed electrical power. With feed-in tariff policies, we can make these affordable and attractive options for Iowa farmers. We can make Iowa farms more energy self-sufficient, yes. More energy self-sufficient and put more biofuel profits in farmers' pockets. By refocusing our biofuels investment on new technologies that will allow farmers to produce biofuels on the farm to power the farm using sustainable cropping systems. We can grow a lot more than $8 billion worth of food we eat every day and every year in Iowa. We can grow a lot of it right here in Iowa, and we can have food that is fresher, safer, and healthier and provide more jobs for rural Iowa. We need to end the predatory practices of corporate monopolies that are stealing the profits from Iowa farmers. We need Teddy Roosevelt-style trust busting to restore competition to agricultural markets. We need to reestablish local control over CAFOs and regulate them to protect our air and water quality, protect health, quality, right to property rights. And we can also make Iowa's landscape more resilient to flooding and keep Iowa's rich soils and fertilizer nutrients on the land. And we can do that by more diversity in the landscape, more perennial crops and more cover crops. So to meet the challenges of the 21st century requires a new vision and new leadership. Iowa agriculture can really lead the Iowa economy and the nation in sustainable, renewable energy, in environmentally sound farming systems, in thriving rural communities. I think the major role of the Iowa Secretary of Agriculture should be to provide vision and leadership for Iowa agriculture. And the Iowa Secretary of Agriculture should be a watchdog for Iowa farmers, not a lapdog for corporate interests.